back! Oh my god, it's been so long. Today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day, a bunch of other Spider-Man stuff that's been happening over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and essentially just breaking it down and just looking at sort of what we've missed. I'm going to give my opinions on a few things. I'm also going to report on a few things that you guys might not have found out or even know about. So let's just dive straight into it. I'm sure some of you guys, before we get into it, are wondering where I've been. I will put out a community post at some point explaining everything. But either way, let's just get straight into it. So the biggest and probably the best piece of Spider-Man Brand New Day news that we've gotten over the last couple of weeks has been the rumor as to some of the villains that are going to appear in the movie itself. So according to a sizzle reel which was shown at Disney Blockbuster Consumer Products panel, that is a mouthful. Essentially, we are going to be getting Scorpion, Boomerang, and Tombstone in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, of course, this isn't 100% confirmed that these villains will be in Brand New Day, but this is essentially just a rumor based off what someone has seen at a Disney sizzle reel. Now, would it make sense if these 3 villains were in Spider-Man Brand New Day? Absolutely yes, especially Scorpion. You know, as the fans, we've been speaking about Scorpion ever since Spider-Man Far From Home didn't use him. We've been saying that the MCU needs to use Matt Gargan because he is a villain in the waiting for this version of Peter Parker. Not to mention, he is the first direct villain of this version of Spider-Man that has already got an emotional connection to the character. So using him as a villain makes complete sense for Spider-Man 4. Loads of fan fictions, loads of fan writings, and all of the fans have said for so long that Scorpion should be the main villain, and he is probably second to Kingpin as to the villain that most of the people want to see in this movie. So yes, Scorpion makes sense. Well, Tombstone, does he make sense? Yeah, Tombstone makes sense, you know, if this movie is going to be grounded, if this movie is going to be about the street level stuff happening in New York, then yeah, of course, Tombstone makes sense. Also, Tombstone's popularity is going through the roof right now since he appeared in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. He's been in the Spider-Man games, and he's a big part to play in the recent ASM comics. So Tombstone is a very popular character at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does end up appearing in Spider-Man 4. And last but not least, Boomerang. Well, Peter is going to be in college, and we know Frederick Myers, aka Boomerang, was a big part of the Nick Spencer run of comics, which of course saw Peter in a very college-y type setting with Fred Myers as his roommate. So yeah, it would make sense. I don't see why not. Yeah, these 3 villains could work in Spider-Man 4. All 3 of them, I'm not so sure, but we'll just have to see. I definitely think Scorpion could be a really good option, and I'm actually really excited to see if they do end up using Matt Gargan again. The next piece of news that we've got from Spider-Man Brand New Day isn't that exciting, but it is still something for us to latch onto. If you live in any of the following places, Italy, Morocco, or England, or the USA, then Spider-Man Brand New Day will be filming near you. I say filming near you, you know, USA is like really big, but I mean, they're all big places, but if you live in any of these countries, there's a chance that Spider-Man Brand New Day will be filming near you. So it's been rumored that apparently the film is going to be filming in Morocco this summer. It's also going to be tackling Italy. We also know it's been confirmed that it will be filming in London right away this summer. And then of course it'll probably go to Atlanta later on in the year to end up filming, or it'll go to Atlanta at some point to film as well. This is really interesting because that means they usually go to Italy and Morocco and places in Europe and Africa, South America, wherever it may be, to film very extravagant scenes, stuff that you can't film on a green screen. Usually when you want some authenticity, maybe there's a certain type of structure or there's a certain type of architecture that you want in your movie, you go to these different places. For example, in Spider-Man Far From Home, we saw this in action. You know, they went to Venice, they went to Prague, they went to the UK, they went everywhere filming for Spider-Man Far From Home because the movie took place in those countries. We'll just have to keep an eye on that and see what they're going to be filming in these locations. The last piece of Spider-Man Brand New Day news that we do have is that Marvel and Sony are currently looking for a Harris Dickinson type actor for a role in the movie. That comes in from Daniel RPK. Now, everyone's favorite thing to say when a studio comes out with a message like this is, why not just hire the actor? And that's really funny because we saw the same thing with Madeline Klein as well. When reports came out that Madeline Klein might be in Spider-Man Brand New Day, it wasn't that she was going to be in the movie, the whole message was, oh, they're looking for a Madeline Klein-like actress. And everyone said, why not just hire Madeline Klein? Well, there are other reasons. Maybe her salary is too high than what the character is worth. Maybe potentially there's something about Madeline Klein's acting chops that they don't like. Maybe it's another role that she's got. Maybe they can't hire her because, you know, she's already booked up for that year when they're going to be filming the movie. Or maybe it's a physicality thing. You never know with actors. It can always be something. So of course, yes, it doesn't mean they're going to obviously hire Harris Dickinson, but they're looking for an actor like him. And I gotta say, this dude looks a hell of a lot like he could play Harry Osborn, so I don't know, maybe they're looking for a Harry Osborn actor, who knows? Finally, the biggest piece of Spider-Man Brand New Day news that we've actually gotten that came out the other day was that Mark Ruffalo apparently is set to reprise his role as the Hulk in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, this comes in from an article written by NexusPointNews.com by a guy called Matthew W. And this is completely as an exclusive, so the source is this guy. Now, I haven't really seen that much when it comes to Spider-Man news from this guy before, particularly this news source. So Nexus Point News, NPM, whatever you want to call them. I've never really seen much from these guys, so I'm not really sure how true this is, but going off the article, these guys are very confident that Mark Ruffalo will be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. They do say they aren't sure whether he's going to be the Hulk or just Bruce Banner, but apparently it's more likely he's just going to be Banner. How this works, I'm not so sure, considering he's now Smart Hulk. I don't know whether they're going to reverse that or not. I don't know what's going on there. But either way, that is pretty much that's the kicker with that one. I ain't really got much else to tell you on that one. How do I think he would be integrated into the movie if he was to appear? I got no idea. I guess it would just be a cameo, because based on everything we know about Spider-Man Brand New Day, the multiverse stuff, the Kingpin stuff, Daredevil, Black Cat, Sadie Sink playing Peter Parker's daughter or another version of Mary Jane, more multiversal stuff, symbiote stuff, Scorpion, Kingpin, everything going on in this movie, you know, how does Hulk fit into that? I got no idea. Just my brain is blown off at this point with theories and rumors. You know, some of them are going to be true, some of them aren't, so I don't know with this one. I'll let you guys decide in the comments below whether you think this is true or not. Personally, I'm just 50-50. I'm on the fence right now, okay? If it turns out to be true, then yeah, fair enough, but I just don't see it at this point in time. And the last piece of news that we've got to cover today is also MCU Spider-Man related. Yeah, there's been a lot of MCU Spider-Man stuff going on. Now, this isn't specifically to do with Brand New Day. However, Brand New Day could influence what I'm about to tell you. So according to the latest rumors, Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures are currently closing in on a deal to make sure Spider-Man appears in Avengers Doomsday. Now, this may confuse some people. Some people may already be like, well, isn't Spider-Man already confirmed to be in Avengers Doomsday, even though he wasn't on that official casting reveal that Marvel Studios put out to the world where they had all the chairs and it lasted for like 10 million hours? Even though Tom Holland wasn't on that, he's surely going to be in the movie, right? Well, actually, no, not really. If we remember the deal that Marvel and Sony came to after Spider-Man Far From Home and Avengers Endgame for Spider-Man to continue to appear in the MCU, it was for one more solo movie and it was for one more crossover, aka cameo movie. Now, that solo movie is of course Spider-Man No Way Home, and they have since signed a new deal for Spider-Man Brand New Day. However, that crossover movie was actually never cashed in on by Marvel and Sony, and Tom Holland is still contractually obligated to appear in one more crossover movie. We believe as the fans that this is Avengers Secret Wars, and Tom Holland actually doesn't have a deal to appear in any other Marvel movie. Therefore, he cannot contractually appear in Avengers Doomsday, and a new deal needs to be reached. Now, some people will say, well, why was this deal not incorporated into the deal that saw Tom Holland come back for Brand New Day? I don't know, don't ask me, I'm not the contract man, but that's what we know at this moment in time. If anyone has a better idea than me on this, then please let me know in the comment section down below, because the last thing I want to be doing is spreading misinformation, if you know what I'm saying. But while we are on Avengers Doomsday, I also do want to point out something. If you guys don't know, the majority of filming for Avengers Doomsday does actually clash with another movie that Tom Holland is filming called The Odyssey, which is that new Christopher Nolan movie, which Zendaya is also a part of. So a massive part of Avengers Doomsday, if Spider-Man is to appear in the film is likely to be played by another actor and then ADR'd or voiced over by Tom Holland in post-production. That is most likely going to be the case for Avengers Doomsday if this deal does actually happen. So I'm going to just put that out there to make you guys aware. If Spider-Man is in this movie, it won't be for a major role. And if it is, then I don't know what Marvel and Sony have done to be able to get Tom Holland to be in this movie a lot, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. What I would get your hopes up for, though, is if Spider-Man doesn't have a massive role in this movie, I imagine he will in Avengers Secret Wars. Because we're getting to that point now where Spider-Man has kind of got to be at the forefront of these Avengers movies, you know? He's one of the most popular characters in the MCU. I wouldn't be surprised if he was the main character of Doomsday, or at least in the plans at some point in the past he was. So yeah, I just expect not to get too much from Spider-Man in Doomsday, but maybe expect it in Secret Wars. But yeah, that's pretty much actually all the news we've got for you today. There's been quite a lot going on when it comes to MCU Spider-Man. On the comics side of things, not much has happened. Obviously, Joe Kelly has relaunched his Amazing Spider-Man series. Ultimate Spider-Man is still going, but that's hit a little bit of criticism recently, and I am going to tackle that in another video coming down the line. I just sort of need to organize my thoughts on that whole situation. When it comes to Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2, I am going to be making a video on that and exploring what I think is going to happen with the Spider-Gwen situation and sort of what they're going to be doing in that season and what I personally would do if I was Marvel Studios. But either way, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to be posting more, so yeah, sorry for the absence. I'll explain it all in a community post. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care and peace.